Hello, my name is Miguel Vasquez, and today I will be presenting my humanities artifact. I will be doing my presentation on how social media affects body image for men and women. So in this presentation, I will be touching on three major points. First, I will be talking about how the Bible contrasts with social media and body image. Next, I will be talking about how social media affects the health and the body image of a person. And finally, I will be discussing social media stereotypes of men and women. So first off, I'm going to talk about how the Bible contrasts with social media and body image. In Romans chapter 12, verse 6, it says, "So since we find ourselves fashioned into all these excellently formed and marvelously functioning parts of Christ's body, let's just go ahead and be what we were made to be, without enviously or pridefully comparing ourselves with each other or trying to be something we aren't." Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10 says, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago." These two Bible verses perfectly illustrate what I'm trying to get across in this presentation. Roman chapter 12, verse 6 perfectly illustrates that, and because it is true. We need to be happy with people need to be happy with themselves and not try to change their appearance, change their physical stature, or change the way they look just to please others, because we were knitted perfectly by God. And yes, we may have flaws, but doesn't mean we have to be able to accept ourselves the way we were meant to be. And Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10 also gives a good explanation of how the Bible contrasts with social media body image, because we are one of God's masterpieces. And as I mentioned before, there's no reason for people, men and women, to believe that they need to change the way they look in order to please people in their lives and on social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or anything where they Snapchat, because at the end of the day, none of their opinions matter. The only opinion that does matters is God's. Next, I will be talking about the effect social media has on a person's health and body image. A quote by Smolik and Thompson from 2009 says, "Emphasizing that exposure to media messages can impart unrealistic images of female beauty, internalizations of these disordered images is of concern because it can lead to body dissatisfaction and key predicted of disordered eating." And again, this quote perfectly illustrates what I'm trying to portray across this PowerPoint, because again, when trying to please somebody or trying to look like an idol you see on social media, whether it be a man or woman, their goals can seem extreme, and can lead to disorders or other health problems. Some health problems that I found on nationaleatingdisorders.org says that you can have low calories and fat. The body will grow fine, downy hair called lanagu. It can cause severe prolonged dehydration and can also lead to kidney failure. You can also have inadequate nutrition and can decrease blood cells. And finally, a major health problem was anemia, which can develop, and that has to do with the little iron that is in a diet. And symptoms that come with anemia would be fatigue, weaknesses, and shortness of breath. And finally, I will be talking about social media stereotypes of women and men. Um, a quote by Wood says, typically men are portrayed as active, adventurous, powerful, sexually aggressive, and largely uninvolved in human relationships. Just as consistent with culture views of gender are de- deceptions of women as sex objects who are usually young, thin, beautiful, passive, dependent, and often incompetent and dumb. At the bottom of this PowerPoint slide, you can see The Rock. As you can see, he is shown as a big, muscular man with a great physique, and also with the great physique. And as mentioned in the quote, men are portrayed on social media as adventurous, powerful, and sexually aggressive, and largely uninvolved in human relationships. And as you can see in this image, all those characteristics mentioned above uh, are social media stereotypes, and things like this cause men to believe that they have to look a certain way. But unfortunately, goals like these, physics structures like these, can be unrealistic for men's. So that's just one way social media is a stereotype to men. And on the right, you could see a model. She is tall, skinny, and portrayed to look a certain way. And when women see this, they can feel as if they need to look this certain way in order um, to stand out to other people. But and going back to just the stereotype of men, uh, yes, it is difficult, and it requires a lot of um, thoughts to look a certain way, but it doesn't mean that all men think like that. Another thing is that men who typically are on social media, and they tend to believe that all women do look like these models they see online, but what they fail to see is that there is just as much beauty on the inside of a woman than there is on the outside. Uh, so there's And yes, because of the social media, it can be difficult to overlook the fact that there's much more to a woman than just their physical stature. And again, this is just a brief explanation of social media stereotypes. And in conclusion, I talked about the Bible and how it contrasts with social media and body image, the effect social media has on body and the physical health of a person, and finally, I talked about social media stereotypes of a man and woman. Thank you.